Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Bandel. I am the last Rosicrucian. Today, I'm going to do my weekly uh, Gaia Ascension update, or whatever you want to call it. It's oriented toward the oak material, or you could say the Order of Anarchist Knights. So, the return of tradition. There's three basic ideas or concepts that I want to talk about today. The first one is what we call the return of tradition. And I'm going to be fairly brief about it because I have a note here that pretty much summarizes what I mean by tradition. Tradition is to demonstrate through personal experience the immortality of the soul and the spirit worlds. And the purpose of demonstrating that to each individual is so that they have no fear of death, that they understand the understanding that the death of the physical body is not the death of personal awareness or personal consciousness. That's it. That's the goal. You take any tradition that you want to think of, spiritual, religious tradition or whatever, and that's the goal that they're trying to get to. And the heart of this concept, the heart of this whole matter is to realize that there's the physical world and there is a non-physical world. And awareness or consciousness exists within the spiritual world. It does not exist in the physical world. And the problem that has filled our society is that society's become so materialistic that a lot of society no longer believes in a soul. They no longer believe in the spiritual worlds or the unseen worlds, the astral realms, or whatever. They simply don't believe in those things. And that makes a crisis when it comes to crossing over. Because if you don't believe in something, where does your awareness go after the death of your physical body? It's pretty blunt, pretty basic that I'm talking about. And I invite everybody to consider what their beliefs are about the soul, about astral bodies, and about death, the passing on, that kind of thing, which includes past lives, future lives, things like that. And it's going to come, it's essentially a hard wall. It comes up, people are going, if you start saying that you believe in the spiritual worlds, that you believe in the soul, you're going to find science and technology essentially, and I'm going to just say generally speaking, totally against you. And you got to take a stand. Because tradition, the traditional path, is that they both exist and they're both one. They're both so intertwined that you can't have one without the other. And that's, I guess I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I've said that. How many ways can you say that, or whatever? So this might end up being a fairly short video if I don't have anything else to talk about that way. But it's a challenge. It's time for you to make up your mind what you believe in or what you don't believe in. What I am going to say is that over the years, over the past 35 years, since I crossed the Great Abyss and full awareness, and have had thousands, literally thousands of astral battles. The experiences of these astral battles, and a lot of these astral battles were in dreams, lucid dreams, or they could be in visions, something like that. But it was these battles that actually convinced me of the reality of the unseen worlds, of the astral planes or whatever. And the other thing that really convinced me of the reality was also, I guess, what I would call soulmate cycles, which was the opposite of a battle, but loving embraces, if you will, in the astral dreams that had a very profound and deep romantic component that was really, it's kind of like, why are some dreams and some visions or something so literally realistic that something might have weight, it might have texture, things like that. So what I'm going to add to what I had originally said about tradition, it's the experiences that you have. So you need to have experiences, and any valid tradition is going to find a way to provide experiences for you. Experiences of the unseen worlds, experiences of the astral realms, whatever you want to talk about that way. Another way that's convinced or helped to convince me about the reality of these things is energy working in groups, group activity, doing conscious work and sensing the collective power of a group and being able to direct that in certain ways. So that comes through personal experience. And what I'm saying is, because of Gaia's ascension, she is now ascended. And there's a 5D planet that exists there. And what there is, and this is something that people are not going to, nobody's talking about this yet, but they will. There's no doubt in my mind that they will, because it's happening. The 3D element that is left in our world is unraveling. And it's kind of like there's only so much of it. No more is being created. Except while there are certain individuals that are struggling, trying to create, trying to extend it. But what's happening is it's not working for them. And so there is a gradual unraveling of 3D, and what is going to be left is a 4D world, a 4D Earth, which is kind of like a world where magic exists. Kind of that world where physicality is a lot more malleable than the strict, harsh 3D world is. But it's forming. It's in the process. What's happening is as 3D unravels, 4D is being created. And this just popped into my head as a way of saying it. 3D is no longer being created. Those people who are struggling for 3D to continue, their creations are going into that 4D world. They're not able to go into the 3D world because 3D is no longer able to exist on Gaia. And what's happening is what exists right now is not going to get any more. It's in the process of becoming less and less and less as it unravels, and it unravels according to karma. And it's unraveling faster and faster and faster. It's unraveling with more of a violent aspect as things go faster and faster. So that's the second part of the second point that I wanted to make in today's video, is that 5D Earth or 5D Gaia already exists. A lot of people that their soul or their etheric body, their astral bodies, their awareness exists in the 5D world already, even though their physical bodies are existing in what remains or what we think of as the 3D world, and it's kind of bridging. It's trying to get through 4D, if you will. There's a group of people that are trying to skip 4D. All right. I'm not one of them. I'm holding a bridge. I am actually one of the few that's a bridge that's bridging between 3D and 5D, and going to be solidly anchored in 4D as the 3D aspect of my physical life, as we know it, gradually dissolves. If that makes any sense. Why 4D? 4D is the natural place. You go from 3D, it naturally goes to 4D. And I'm one of these that all life on Gaia is ascending. Don't leave any life behind. The only way that can happen is it goes to 4D, because a lot of the life forms upon Gaia, animal, vegetable, whatever, they don't exist at the high. They're not aware at the higher levels. So if they're going to continue, and they're going to show up in 4D where they can exist comfortably, because it's the natural progression from 3D to 4D. That's essentially what we're talking about. If I had to say things say it a different way, there's a lot of these star seeds that came into physical bodies that were 5D before they came in. And they've caught up, they've done their thing, and they can't wait to get to 5D. They're not interested in 4D. And this is an interesting point. If it's time to make a choice, where do you want to end up? 4D, the 4D Earth, or the 5D Earth? 4D Earth is going to be a lot richer, a lot more physical. It's going to have a lot of the lower plants and animals and be more populated that way. It's going to be more natural. 5D is more mental. It's not so organic. And because it's more mental, the creation, the creative ability in 5D it doesn't take as much as 4D, because 4D is emotional creation. 5D is essentially mental creation. Anyway, I'm just kind of rambling there. So to summarize the first 2 points, I wanted to say tradition. Tradition is where you have the personal experience to demonstrate through personal experience the immortality of the soul and the permanence of awareness after the death of the physical body. The second one there, 5D already exists. People already have their 5D body, their astral body, or their elemental body, their etheric body, whatever. That's made the shift, but they still have their physical bodies that they're stuck in, and they are, for now, acting as bridges as well. But a lot of them are choosing to drop their physical bodies, and we're going to be seeing, I believe, that in this year of 2026, you're going to see a lot of people dropping their physical bodies, because their intention is, I'm out of here, I'm going to 5D. But then there's others that are going to 4D, and we're just working through the unraveling of the karma, the 3D karma that remains. There is no new 3D karma being created. That is the point I'm trying to say there. The last point that I'm going to share. The last point. Each noble gas in the time-space world, in the astral worlds, acts as a solid, acts as a foundational basis for a certain type of reality. There are 7 noble gases. There are 7 potential astral bodies. I've written a lot about this in the oak material. What I want to mention and what I want to say here is that each noble gas, each of these astral bodies, whether it's the upper emotional, the lower emotional, the elemental, the etheric, the concrete mental, the abstract mental, and so forth, whether they, whichever one you're talking about, they each exist, they each have their own personal awareness. They have their own personal intelligence. And they don't talk to each other unless you create a link between them. And that is why creating a link between the various chakra centers, between the various astral bodies is so important, because normal awareness, normal conscious awareness is going to exist somewhere between the solar plexus and the heart center, which is the upper and lower emotional levels. With going into the throat chakra and the third eye, which are both the mental energies. And most of the lower levels, like the elemental body and the etheric body, they, for most people, are largely unconscious. They don't have an awareness at those levels. But it's possible to have. And those are some of the things that I'm going to be talking about in the future. But I wanted to just bring the point. Each astral body has its own type of awareness, its own type of intelligence, and follows its own rules. It has its own, each type of energy operates differently than the other types of chakra energies, or the noble gases, however you want to call it that way. Anyway, I don't want to get into any more of that, but there's all these people, they're saying, well, okay, I got an astral body and that's my soul, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. The soul is actually the integrated, where you integrate all of your possible astral bodies, including the etheric body. That total integration is what's really your true soul. And you can, even though a lot of people only have two or three astral bodies fully activated right now, and they will say that is their soul. And as far as they're concerned, that's what it is, because they have not that's all they have. They have not integrated. But if at the death of their at the death of their physical body, they have, since those astral bodies are activated, their awareness will consolidate at those levels. If you go back full circle to what we were talking about in the beginning, those materialists that don't believe in any of that, they're going to have a hard time when their physical body dies. So it's not a joke. And there's a science behind it. There's a metaphysics behind it. And this movement toward a recognition of the unseen, toward a recognition of the astral, toward a recognition of the soul, toward a recognition of the paranormal, is just growing greater and greater and greater. The door is opening up, because we are in the beginning of the new great cycle. And the new great cycle, these so-called magical energies, are the dominant energies. we're going to be seeing a lot more paranormal activity in our lives. We need to prepare others as well as ourselves for mentally dealing with this, as a lot of worldviews are challenged. Till next week, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.